Now we're going to move on into more basic signs, such as slow, fast. Don't worry, I'll slow down. Anyway, we're going to move into more basic signs now. The first one I would like to teach is name, what my name is. So name in sign language, this is the sign for name. 2 H's tapping on top of each other. So this is name in sign language. So usually when you introduce a deaf person, you would say, hello, my name is, and then you'd introduce yourself. But you need to know how to sign that. So my in sign language is with an open hand to your chest. If you do this, that is I. But this is your name. You're owning it. So your hand is open. You're saying my. And is not actually a sign. There are no little words in sign language like is, and, or, things like that. They don't exist. There isn't a sign for them. So that usually goes with the sign. So they'll understand what you mean. So you say my name. They'll know as you're saying my name is. So you would say my name, and then you'd fingerspell your name. So mine, and you would do your first and last name. Very important, because they want to know if they've met you before or heard your last name before. Maybe they know a relative of yours. It's very important. They want to know who you are. So if I were to meet someone, I would say my name is Kyra Monson. I know that was a little fast, so I'll slow it down. My name. So you can enunciate very well. Go slow. You are learning, but make sure to pause in between your first and last name, like I just did. That's my first name, and then my last name. And make sure when you're finger spelling that you aren't like bouncing. You're not going, because that's very hard to read if you're bouncing all over the place. A second thing is like, this is your invisible signing space, so don't be like signing down here or up here somewhere crazy. Just like right here, shoulder to your waist. Nice little box. This is your signing space. This is where most signs are, and definitely where your finger spelling is. Make sure if you're left-handed, do it with your left hand. If you're right-handed, then finger spell with your right hand. Whichever is more comfortable for you is the way to go. So again, no bouncing or beeping. You're not like making this a 3D experience. Don't talk while you're signing. I mean, you can like maybe in your head talk to yourself, but don't be like talking the whole time while you're signing. It's like they'll just get confused, and it's a little rude because it's like they don't understand what you're saying up here, but you're also trying to talk to them. It just seems like not all your attention is devoted to them. And if you don't pick up on the sign language, that's okay. Don't scream at them though. It doesn't help. Just pen and paper if you absolutely need to. If last resort, pen and paper is the best way to go. Or even on your phone, you can go to your notes and type in what you're trying to say and show it to them, and they can type back. And so that's a really good way to communicate if you can't remember your ASL alphabet, or you can't remember these signs I'm going to show you. So one more time. My name, Kyra Monson. But you would do your name, of course. You'd do your first and your last name, and you'd finger spell both and pause in the middle. If you have a dash in your name, dash is this in sign language. So say my name was Kyra Ann. There's a dash between Kyra and Ann. Then I would do this. I would spell my name Kyra, then I'd do a dash, and then I'd say Ann. So if that is a thing for you in your name, then dash. Perfect. Other than that, that is how you would introduce yourself to a deaf person. You would say, hello is very easy. It's just like how we say hello. You wave, you just say hi. And they'll be like, hi, and then you would say, my name is Kyra Monson. And then you want to know their name, of course. And so to ask their name, you would point to them, because this is you. When you point to them, you say you. name, what? Word order is very important in ASL. If you have time, it would usually go first, who, what, action, and then the 5 W's go at the end. Or negation, meaning like no or something, never. But that's a little advanced, but that is the word order in ASL. That is ASL grammar. And so when you talk to them, just remember the who is first, the action is second, and if you're saying what, where, who, as in actually asking who, why, or how, that would always go last. So if you want to know their name, you're going to say your name, what. This is the sign for what. Very, very understandable, because don't you go like what? Like, it makes sense. What? So we're going to do just like Peter Pan and I did while we were at Disneyland. Now that Peter Pan has shown us how to introduce ourselves, there's a little more into the intro than just your name. They'd also want to know who, this is the sign for who, by the way, taught you your signs usually. And so I'm going to tell you what teacher is and what learn is, so you can tell them, okay, this is who taught me ASL, and that's usually about it. You could also say where you're from, so I'll also teach you that, but this would be the next thing you would do after you introduce yourself using your name. Then you would say, so this is teacher. So teacher is like a flat O, or like a duck. 2 ducks, I guess, and you go from here up. So this is teach. And so you'd say person. So my teacher, this is an agent marker. If there's ever like teacher, but it's also like a verb, they put an ER on to make a noun, then this is your agent marker saying that this is a person doing. So this is teach, this is teacher. So you would say my teacher, or my teacher ASL. You always put the description after the noun in ASL, just like Spanish or French or any other foreign language. So like my shirt, it wouldn't be my blue shirt, it would be my shirt blue. So you'd say my teacher ASL, so my ASL teacher, and then you would finger spell their name, or you'd say my teacher ASL name, and then finger spell their name. Either way, they would understand. This is the sign for understand. They would understand what you were saying. So one more time, you'd say my teacher of ASL name, and the person who taught me was Ashley Butt. So I would go, I'd spell her name, I'd finger spell her name, ASHLE. Now here's an important part of finger spelling. If you have 2 letters in a row, you can slide your letter to the side and they'll understand that as being 2. So my teacher spells her name ASHLEE. So when I finger spell it, I'd go ASHL and then EE with the slide. So same if you were to finger spell a simple word like sleep, SLEP. And it's not just with E's. You can, if there's a double A, L, P, you can slide those letters and they will understand that, okay, there are 2 of them in a row. So that's very important to know. So one more time. My teacher ASL name Ashley Butt. Now at the end there, when I did the T's, you can slide the T, or if it's like an N, M, or a T, you can flick your fingers down, and that also means the same thing. You do that, so that would be two T's or two M's or two N's. Both ways are acceptable. If it's easier for you to remember the slide, then you could do it like that. If it's easier for you to remember, hey, I can flick, you can also do that. So either way, both mean the same thing. There's a double letter. Continuing on, that's that portion. The next portion I told you was where you're from. So you would say I, because remember this is my, this is I, so you'd say I, and the sign for from is this. So two X's, or just actually more like just a one, and you take your X and you pull it away, like this is where I'm from, but this is where I am, kind of thing. So this is from. So you would say I from, and then you could finger spell your state or your city, where you grew up, or yeah, where you're from. Or if you're like in another state from where you usually live, you could say that is where you lived. Like if I was in Oregon but I live in California, then I would say I'm from California, instead of maybe my hometown, which is in Arizona, because that's not really accurate, because I don't live there anymore, unless you are like me and you're 18, still in high school, and you and you run into a deaf person, you're introducing yourself, then you would use your hometown, because that is where you're living and that is where you're from. So that is a simple intro for meeting a deaf person, is giving them your name, the teacher who taught you, and where you're from, and that kind of gives them, okay, they get to know you a little bit and understand, okay, I think I know where this person is from now, like maybe I've heard of you, or this person's brand new to me, let's get to know you more. So that's a basic intro in deaf culture. So we'll just go through it one more time. You would say my name, and then you'd finger spell your name. This is the sign for finger spell. And then you say my teacher name, and then you'd finger spell your teacher's name. And if you're watching this video, my name is Kyra Monson, so you would finger spell my name. And again, that is spelled K-A-I-R-A-M-O-N-S-O-N. And then you would say where you were from. So you'd say I from, and then you'd finger spell where you're from, the city you're from, or the state you're from, or both. If you want to put the comma, if you want to, like I'm from Kingman, Arizona, then you could, I'd spell Kingman, and this is comma, or you can just pause, but comma is probably better so they know, okay, there's definite separation. This isn't like two words. Like if you live in Santa Clarita, that's what the name of the city is. So like a pause, like there's not a state Clarita, like, but they'd probably still understand you if you forgot a comma. But comma, and then I'd say Arizona. That makes sense. So comma, dash, very important. Remember, no like bouncing up and down or front or back, just very calm, still, let your fingers move, the rest of you stay still so they can focus on what you're signing and not having to like follow your hand all over the place. Another thing, another more respectful rule in their culture is when you are signing, try not to focus like solely on their hand, because you are talking to them, not to their hand. So try to look at them, and if you have to glance at their hand, that's fine, or if you have to look at their hand and then look at them, that's fine, but don't just like look at their hand the whole time. It's kind of rude. So remember that, and just like not shouting at them or something else. They'll think you're like angry at them and they don't know why.